Hey, this is Heal with Dr. Fred, and I have a question. Who are we really? I mean, who are we really? Let's talk about this, because here we are in this world, in this body, in this life, and most people feel this deep spiritual, deep within us desire to really know who we are, to really become conscious of ourselves. Like I always say, every spirit wants to be conscious of itself, feel that divine drive that's inside us, so we can not only have confidence in who we really are and why we're here, but to be able to know and have that divine identity, because it can affect the way we look at the world, create heaven on earth, affect every relationship in our life, because the most important relationship is the relationship with ourselves and that connection to who we really are and to God. So when we become aware of that and we release that into the world, our life takes on a whole new meaning, because we really expand and raise our consciousness on our identity. And isn't that fascinating? So is the time now? Is now the time when we become more aware and release it? So I'm going to go through a few biblical and spiritual principles today of things that I go through myself, because we're all the same, just trying to figure out who the heck we are and why we're here and live that to the fullest. So I'm going to go over principles you're probably already familiar with, but I'm going to go through a timeline from when we're in the spirit world and coming through here and why we're here. So hang on. I think you'll see this will be a step-by-step, fascinating timeline that we all go through. So let's start with a famous quote from Michael Bernard Beckwith, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. "You are not a person, you are an energy." So imagine you're in the spirit world, which we are really immersed in the spirit world. I mean, our anatomical eyes see the physical world, but there's all kinds of stuff going on that our eyes don't see, that maybe our third eye, if you want to call it, or our intuition knows about. But we're not a person, we are an energy. We are in a body, we have a body, but in the spirit world, before we come into this body, we are pure energy, we're pure God intelligence, we are heaven being created, we are pure life force. Isn't that fascinating? And then we're up there, we may see the physical world and go, man, I want to go in there. So here's Psalm 139:16. Imagine being there with God and saying, "Your eyes saw my substance being yet unformed in your book, they were all written." Isn't that amazing? So there you go, like, wow, that's the life I want to live. It's like watching a movie trailer. So before they were written, your days fashioned for me, so things didn't happen to you, they happened for you, when as yet there were none of them. Isn't that amazing? So you see the movie trailer of your life because your spirit doesn't care about human pain. That's why it comes in, is to have a human experience, to create heaven on earth, to really know who you are, and to bring heaven on earth, because our will is God's will, and God's will is our will, hopefully. Can our will get in the way? Yes. But we are coming here for that purpose, to bring heaven on earth, and your spirit says, yeah, put me in. I see everything I'm going to go through, and I pick it because it's an evolution of a soul in a higher consciousness that's above pain and judgment and disease and all those things. Isn't that fascinating? So really, there you are, as an energy, as a universal intelligence, and you said, yes, put me in. Now here's a quote from Albert Einstein. "We are slowed down sound and light waves." Why are they slowed down? Because that whole frequency has to slow down to enter the physical body. That's why they say there's no disease in heaven. Why? Because you're vibrating at a whole intelligence that's above disease, above pain, way above forgiveness, right? That's why Jesus came, to show us what Christ consciousness is. So we are walking bundles of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. What's that mean? We're tuned in. What's the cosmos? Another word for heaven. We are tuned into heaven because heaven is inside us. We are souls dressed up in a sacred, because we are divine, and I'll go through that in a minute, biochemical garment, and our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play our music. So we are our souls. The body is how we play our music on the physical plane. What's that mean? So we are not our body, we are not our mind, we are spirits in this body, using this body as an instrument to play our music on the physical plane. Isn't that fascinating? So here's Eckhart Tolle. You are not in the universe. You are the universe. Because we are carbon-based material. I'm going to go through the God code in our DNA in a minute. We are the universe, an intrinsic part of it, meaning we're included. The universe moves through us. That's God moving through us. Ultimately, you are not a person. See, it says the same thing again. You are not a person, but a focal point where the universe is becoming conscious of itself. What an amazing miracle. The universe comes through us, and we're seeking consciousness of ourself. That's our higher self, our God self, and that's why we're talking about this. Who are we really? It's fulfilling that deep desire to see consciousness of our spirit. Then all of a sudden, here we go. So what happens next? So God created mankind in his own image. The image of God, he created male and female. He created them. So here we are. Now what's that mean? That means you are eternal. That means you were never born. Your body was born. That would mean you will never die. Your body will pass on. You'll come out of your body. You'll transition. And then you'll realize, man, when my anatomical eyes closed, my spiritual eyes have always been open. Are you going to wait till that moment when you go, oh my God, here I am? By the way, go to Healed with Dr. Fred YouTube channel, because there's podcasts, Healed with Dr. Fred podcast, where I do interviews with people with near-death experience that crossed over, saw their body, realized who they really were out of their body, came back in their body with very divine gifts. Mas Sajadi and Molly Rose Holmes, listen to those, and all the other ones. So when we realize we're not eternal, I don't want to have a near-death experience to learn that one, okay? We don't have to do that. So now let's look at what's our DNA. Let's look at the God code in our DNA. Well, our DNA and the proteins and nucleic acids that make up our DNA are basically 4 elements: hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So let's look at those 4 elements, because they comprise the nucleic acids that make up our DNA. So when we look at the ancient science of gematria, that assigns numbers to letters. And so the whole universe, quantum physics, is math. So when we look at hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and we look at the atomic mass, that's how big is that atom and how much space does it take up. And we reduce that number to one number. Then hydrogen becomes 1, nitrogen is 5, oxygen is 6, carbon is 3. So when we go to those letters, first of all, when we look at we assign the number 1, the 10th letter is Yod, but 1 plus 0 is 1. So that's Y, and the 5th letter is Hey, the 6th letter is Vav, the 3rd letter is Gimel. So basically, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, in the ancient letters alphabet of Hebrew, which is still in use today, the oldest language is still in use today, according to my knowledge, now comes to those 4 letters. So YH means God eternal. VG means within the body. So when we look at YHVG, Yod Hey Vav Gimel, what's the meaning of our DNA? God eternal within the body. So all the proteins that make up your body, God eternal within the body. You are divine. You are created in the likeness and image of God, not only spiritually, but physically. We have divine DNA. Isn't that amazing? And we have the ability, based on our emotions and consciousness, to turn on and off certain switches in our DNA that could create disease or heal disease. So how about if we say, God eternal within my body, my DNA is divine, and I only allow divinity in my body. Isn't that amazing? Luke 17:21. Neither shall they say, look, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. That's true physically. That's true spiritually. Now we are spirit coming into the physical body with the kingdom of God inside us. Then the Lord, Genesis 2:7, then the Lord formed a man from the dust of the ground. That's the dust of the ground. It's all carbon-based. Everything that's carbon-based, everything that is alive is God eternal within the body. From the dust of the ground breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. And here we are. right? Here we are now to fulfill a purpose in this world. So let's go to Colossians 1:16. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and earth. Here we are, coming from heaven, created on earth from the dust of the ground, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him, for him. Isn't that amazing? Created for God, for you, because you're in a partnership. You already said yes. You're already here. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and give you a future. Where you say, well, I've been harmed in my life. Imagine looking at your life through a spiritual perspective, and then you can find the gift and release the pain. And this is the Healed Seminar. By the way, we're having a Healed event October 7th through 8th, taking a small group through that massive transformational spiritual healing. And these are just a few principles that we're going through with Honor God Within Yourself. This is just a few principles from the first step. So if you have any questions about that, DM me here, send me a message, I'll give you details. Job 42:2. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans, we already went through that, okay. Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Man, isn't that amazing? So we go from you're not a person, you're an energy, making an agreement with God. God creates from the dust of the earth. He creates man and woman, male and female, breathes into our body. Now our DNA code is totally divine. We are spiritually divine, physically divine. Everything around us, especially that's alive carbon-based, everything around us is God-based. Man, can we walk around with that? Now the kingdom is inside you. Now heaven is inside you. Now we can see heaven on earth, and we're walking through heaven all the time. How would you like to function at that consciousness? So do you have daily rituals that bring you there? You can go to Healed with Dr. Fred and get more of these videos. Also, this is what the Healed System is about. Go to yourmorepowerful.com, and this is what it's about, giving the daily tools that we can create heaven on earth right now. And again, if you have any questions about the Healed Immersion in-person process, send me a message here. Hey, I love you guys, and we are here to create heaven on earth and really discover who we are, why we're here, and feel and experience our divinity every day. Love you guys.